At the beginning of our movie today, we see this young man on Halloween heading to visit his friend. When he rings the doorbell, no one answers, so he gets curious and looks through the window, where he sees someone moving quickly inside the house. He decides to go in since the door wasn't locked. As soon as he enters, he feels the cold and a significant drop in temperature inside the house. At first, he thinks his friend is playing a prank on him, but when he approaches, he's shocked to see his friend frozen. Suddenly, he sees another frozen body, and the terror makes him scream in fear. A year passes since that incident, and now it's winter time. The students in the university town are eagerly preparing for the annual Ice Queen contest, now in its 7th edition. We see a missing student poster on the notice board. In the next scene, we meet Roger, who is flirting with the beautiful Virgin Melody. Then Roger's friend Luke arrives and pulls him away from Melody so they can go do their laundry. Roger has some beers with him, so he hands one to Luke. Luke starts drinking, singing, and dancing with great happiness until two girls, Layla and her cousin Christine, walk in. Luke begins flirting with the two girls, discovering they're med students living on the same floor as them. After a while, the girls leave, and Luke notices that Layla left some coins behind. He picks them up and goes to their room. When he knocks on the door, no one answers, so he gently opens it and walks in. As soon as he steps inside, he feels the cold again. He notices that the two beds are next to each other, and no one seems to be in the room. He places the coins on the table, and just as he's about to leave, he sees a piece of the girl's clothing hanging on the edge of the closet. He reaches out to grab it, but suddenly hears the girls coming back, so he quickly hides in the closet. Layla and Christine enter the room, chatting and showering together, while Luke watches them from inside the closet. At this point, something completely unexpected happens. Luke sees claws appearing from Layla's chest, and she sprays a liquid from a nitrogen bottle. Then they both put on their pajamas and leave the room. Luke seizes the opportunity to escape, checking the nitrogen bottle in confusion, without any explanation for what he witnessed. When he leaves the room, he sees his friend Roger, who's getting ready to meet Christine. Luke tells Roger everything he saw in the room, but Roger doesn't believe him and thinks he's still drunk from the beer they had earlier. Later, Luke asks his classmate Alex about the nitrogen liquid, and she explains that it's currently used to freeze and cool tissues and lower body temperature. Roger interrupts Luke's conversation, but Luke shouts at him to stay quiet. Their other friend Jamie asks Luke what's going on. The next night, Luke and Alex attend the Ice Queen pageant, and Luke asks Alex to get a closer look at Layla's chest. Alex laughs, thinking Luke just wants an excuse to check out her body, but Luke insists it's for a different reason. When they enter the party, they see Layla and Christine dancing normally. Alex tells Luke that she doesn't see anything strange about them, and in fact, both girls are very beautiful. At this point, Layla spots Luke and asks him to dance with her, but Luke gets scared and avoids her. Later, the event host, Vicky, introduces Bobby, the hockey team captain. Bobby talks about the Ice Queen contest and announces that Layla has won the title for this year. Layla is overjoyed and goes on stage to thank Bobby and everyone there. While celebrating, Luke bumps into a girl named Jenny, who gets mad at him for spilling her drink on herself. Bobby steps in and warns Luke to back off, but Luke can't hold back his anger and throws a punch at Bobby. Bobby dodges, and the punch lands on Jenny instead. Bobby then attacks Luke, hitting him hard in the stomach. Luke grabs him and slams him into the stage. The two continue fighting until Luke pulls away and leaves the party. Alex follows him, trying to calm him down and asking him to relax. Luke tells her he needs some fresh air to cool off. In the next scene, we see Roger in the girls' bathroom, where Christine walks in, turns off all the lights, and approaches him with the intention of getting intimate. Meanwhile, Luke is in his jeep, struggling to start it. We then switch to Layla, who is in the woods. She suddenly transforms, and claws emerge from her body. She quickly kills Bobby by freezing his body and internal organs. The next morning, while Roger and Luke are talking about the events of the party, there's a knock on their door. Detective Amanda shows up and asks Luke to get dressed and come with her immediately. We start by seeing Detective Kirk and the police officers after the discovery of Bobby's body at the crime scene. Kirk begins examining Bobby's corpse, and as soon as Luke arrives, Detective Kirk pulls him aside and asks him about the fight he had with Bobby at the party the previous night. He takes Luke to his office and tells him, "You must have wanted to get back at Bobby after your fight, so you killed him and finished him off." Meanwhile, the forensic doctor notices that Bobby's body is completely frozen. When Detective Kirk arrives, the doctor tells him that Bobby's body froze in a strange way from the inside. He also mentions that there was some kind of tube that pierced Bobby's throat. Kirk then goes back to Luke, and Luke is released. Kirk tells Amanda, "I'm sure Luke is the one who killed Bobby, and I'm not going to stop until I can prove he's the real killer." As Kirk walks away, he sees Luke and overhears Christine blaming Layla, telling her, "What you're doing is putting all of us at risk." Later, Luke takes a cab to the morgue and sneaks inside. He's terrified when he sees a decomposed body, and suddenly he hears a noise coming from outside, thinking someone's about to walk in on him. He panics and accidentally knocks into Bobby's frozen hand. Quickly, he hides under the table that holds Bobby's body. When the doctor enters, he grabs a bag and leaves. Luke comes out from under the table and sees a drawing on the board of claws, which confirms his suspicions about Layla and Christine. That night, Luke is with his friends Roger, Jimmy, and Alex, and he tells them he went into the morgue and saw Bobby's frozen body. He says, "I'm sure Layla or Christine are involved in this." Roger and Jimmy laugh at him, and Alex tells him, "Your conclusions don't make any sense." But Luke insists, saying, "Just wait, time will prove me right." Jimmy excuses himself to meet up with his girlfriend Natasha, while Luke warns Roger, "I'm telling you for your own good, watch your back, and it's better if you cut ties with both of them." The movie then shifts to Layla at a party, wearing a stunning and provocative dress. Luke spots her and tells Alex, "I've got a plan that'll prove everything I've been saying." A girl named Vicky overhears them. Later, Luke takes Alex outside and hands her a small spy camera, asking her to plant it in the bathroom. Vicky watches from a distance, suspicious. Alex goes through with the plan and successfully plants the camera in the bathroom just as Luke had asked. In the next scene, Jimmy is with Natasha in a graveyard, and they start getting intimate. Meanwhile, Luke sets up another camera to convince Roger that Christine isn't a normal girl. At that moment, Natasha suddenly attacks Jimmy, and branches that resemble tree limbs emerge from her body, just like what happened with Bobby and Layla. The branches penetrate Jimmy's throat, and his body begins to freeze from the inside until he dies. Natasha finishes him off. At the party, Layla and Christine are dancing and having a good time with everyone else. But when a girl named Melody shows up and starts dancing with a flamethrower, Layla and Christine become frightened and back away. When Luke sees this, he realizes that heat is their weakness. After a while, Layla notices Luke looking at her, so she approaches him and takes him outside to talk. They have a conversation, and she takes him back to her room. She undresses while Luke and Alex watch through the camera. Luke notices a birthmark on her chest, but then Layla grows suspicious and spots the camera. She becomes enraged and attacks Luke with her deadly claws. Luckily for Luke, her claws hit a candle instead, which falls to the ground, starting a fire. As the flames rise, Layla's true form is revealed. She looks like an alien creature. She flees the room quickly. When Luke returns to Alex, they find that the camera didn't capture the best angle. But when they switch to the footage from the bathroom, they see another girl with the same birthmark on her chest while she's showering. The next day, Luke goes straight to Detective Kirk with the footage, telling him everything. But Kirk says, "Everything you did here is illegal. You can't just set up cameras to film women in the shower or when they're getting intimate without their knowledge." He adds, "By the way, you're the main suspect in Bobby's murder." At that moment, Detective Amanda walks in, and Luke is escorted out of the office. Afterward, we see Roger with Christine, who's eating ice cream despite not wearing a jacket in the freezing cold. Roger asks, "How are you not freezing right now?" Christine replies, "The weather is just perfect for me." At that time, Luke was with Alex at the house, and Jimmy kept calling him, but of course, he was dead and didn't answer. Then, Luke went to their place, grabbed the kettle, and watched them from a distance. As soon as they left the house, he quickly entered. Later, Roger met Christine again, and she asked him, "Why can't your friend Luke stand me?" He replied, "He can't even stand himself, and he thinks I'm crazy too." He then told her about Luke's suspicions regarding her and her cousin Layla. Suddenly, Christine got closer to Roger and said, "I love you. By the way, all of Luke's suspicions about me and my cousin Layla were right. Everything he said was true." Roger was shocked, but Christine reassured him, saying, "We're not murderers or killers. We only kill those who commit violence against women, like Bobby, who hit and assaulted his ex-girlfriend." She added, "Our alien species is nearing extinction, and we need to inseminate human males this way to ensure our survival. Unfortunately, they've all died so far." Here, Roger foolishly suggested they have a relationship, thinking he might survive and even father alien children. He told her he loved her and couldn't live without her. Meanwhile, Luke had captured Layla and taken her to the gym, where he tied her up tightly and threatened her with the boiling kettle. At the same time, Roger asked Christine to show him her claws if she truly loved him. She began undressing. Back to Luke and Layla in the gym. Luke had a lighter or a gas gun and was interrogating Layla, wanting to know the full truth, but she continued to deny everything. Suddenly, Vicky burst in with a baseball bat, hitting Luke, giving Layla the chance to free herself quickly. Layla told Luke that Christine was now with his friend Roger, so Luke rushed to save him from her. When Luke arrived, he had the gun and gas torch, threatening Christine. Roger started coughing violently, unable to breathe. When Alex saw what was happening, she called for help. Alien creatures resembling spiders started coming out of Roger's mouth, and Christine was overwhelmed with tears, afraid Roger might die. It seemed she really loved him. Luke splashed hot water on her, forcing her to flee the room instantly. The ambulance arrived, but Roger died before it could take him away. They took him to the morgue at the hospital, where Detective Amanda met with Luke, who was deeply saddened by Roger's death. She offered him a ride in her car. On the way, Luke called Jimmy, not knowing he was already dead. He left him a voicemail, but Detective Amanda broke the news, telling him Jimmy had been frozen to death like Bobby and Roger. When Luke arrived, he grabbed Melody's flamethrower and went to the sorority house, armed with hot water. Vicky, Layla, Christine, and Natasha were all with the guys there. Luke stormed in and threatened them. Detective Amanda also arrived, yelling at them. Luke threw hot water on Vicky, but nothing happened. He apologized, saying he thought she was one of them. Then, he used a flamethrower to set Natasha on fire, and she exploded, dying instantly. Layla was terrified, as was Christine, begging Luke to spare them and not kill them. But Luke wasn't fooled. He lit Layla on fire like Natasha, revealing her true alien form. As she tried to escape, Detective Amanda shot her, breaking her into tiny pieces. Meanwhile, Christine fled, and Luke chased after her. Christine ran downstairs and hid behind some pipes in her alien form. Unfortunately for Luke, the gas in his flamethrower ran out. Christine attacked him ferociously, but Detective Amanda arrived just in time and shot at her. Luke broke the gas pipes with an axe, and the intense heat caused Christine to explode, finally killing her. Afterward, the police arrived at the scene. Luke thanked Detective Amanda for her help and thanked Alex for supporting him, even though she didn't believe him at first. When Detective Kirk arrived, wanting to talk to Luke, he refused and left. Luke took Alex to his room, intending to have an intimate moment with her, but he discovered that she, too, was an alien. In the end, we learn that she was the one who killed the 3 people at the beginning of the movie on Halloween. She got into bed, revealed her claws, and prepared to have a relationship with him to create alien offspring and ensure their continued existence on Earth. And that's how today's movie ends. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, if you liked the video, support us with a like and subscribe,